What is going on? Dan Fitz, the Street Preacher here. This is going to make sense at the end. What I'm talking about now, it'll make sense towards the end. Bear with me. I often say that I don't want to do these. You might hear me say that. If I talk about something controversial or strange, maybe it's the first time I talked about it, maybe it's just unpleasant. I don't want to talk about it. But the reality is, in this particular moment in time, I'm tired. I'm tired. So I didn't feel like doing this. But this is one of the key fundamentals of the DFP, and also something you can take away from this. Doing something when you don't want to do it, whether that be fear, tired, uncertainty, whatever reason. Just do the damn thing. The energy, the words, the feelings, the resources will come. They will, but you'll never know unless you do them. This is I can say this honestly as fuck. I can say this like I know it, like it's a certain truth, because it is. When it comes to investing in yourself, whether it be a book, a course, a mentor, a training program, everyone's broke. No one has the money for that. But when it comes down to a $400 bag of powder on a Friday night, every man and his dog seems to have the money for that. I know that because I've lived both lives. I've been in both of those worlds, and I've seen it time after time, because the first one requires work, change, effort, uncertainty, you evolving into someone new. The second one requires little to no effort, and you think you feel good. I mean, I know you do feel good, but there's a consequence to that, which I'll get into. My relationship with crime, being a gangster, an outlaw, the underworld, I understand people's appeal or wanting to know things that they don't want to live or do or experience. But society and culture, it glamorizes that shit. It makes it cool. People think easy money, women, not status, but why is every single movie, television show, things that are interesting to watch, it's about crime, or it's about gangsters and things like that? I understand the appeal. There was a TV show recently on Netflix about, was it Jeffrey Dahmer? It's a serial killer who ate people. And that was one of the most popular series on Netflix of all time. Dude ate people and killed them in horrendous ways. That makes me feel uncomfortable. And you freaks ate that shit up on television. In fact, people were dressing like him for Halloween. Anyway. Says a lot about society as a whole right now. Okay, so this is a long time ago. I think 2013. Yeah, it's 10 years ago. Fuck. I was managing a gym on the Gold Coast that was next to one of the clubhouses of the Banditos. So naturally, the Banditos trained there. They were pretty good guys, from what I could tell. They were pretty good guys. I mean, the Queensland Police and Australia as a whole has really cracked down on bikies and being able to wear patches, and they haven't cracked down on crime whatsoever. Crime's out of control. Fucking useless pricks. But bikers, and I can explain to you why they do this, they crack down on bikers not because they want to stop crime or not because they think that they're bad guys. They want to discriminate on one portion of society totally outrightly and inhumanely and unjustly. So they do it with the bikers, like the worst of society. So they do it with them. So you sit there and think, oh, they're keeping us safe from those people. But that's how this has crept in. So it's like bikers, then it's like conspiracy theorists, then it's anti-vaxxers, and they change the name and they start targeting those people. I mean, it's too late now. They already started this shit. So back in 2013, banditos are training in my gym. Reason why I bring this up is they're pretty fucking tough dudes. They are. And they have that energy about them. They have that vibe. And when they would come in to train, it would just be one of them sometimes. The whole gym was uncomfortable. The whole gym would be uncomfortable. So I was down at the local barber shop, where every barber's a fucking gangster these days. And I was getting a haircut, as you do at the barber shop, and the president of the banditos at the time came in to get his haircut. I knew him, he's an alright guy. Well, the former president, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that place now, but yeah, he was a good guy. I had a chat to him when he came in the gym, and just a normal guy. He's the president of the motorcycle club. But gangsters being gangsters and crime being crime, which is why I avoid gang and club culture in every way, shape and form I can. There was a couple of upcomers from another club outside the barber shop, and they mouthed off to him. He said something back. They called an enforcer. And within minutes, this BMW pulls in, and this fucking freak of a man gets out. An enforcer, I guess. And I already know, I don't want to fight this guy. You would not want to fight this guy. He's just big. He's unusually big. Whether you can fight or not, it's not a good day. But he was there for the president, and he called him out, and they went out to the street, and shit got pretty real pretty quickly. And unfortunately, I won't say his name, but the president found himself taking a fucking beating. Like, this guy had him on the ground, boom, 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 and his face started to resemble mincemeat pretty quickly. Now all these gangsters in the barbershop, mind you, were just looking out the window in disbelief and also kind of fear, thinking, I don't want to be involved in this. And then there's idiot me, who's thinking, well, he's a member of the gym, kind of got duty of care, I guess, that he doesn't die. I'll do something. So I went out there and I just said, hey, and the freak beast of a man looked at me like, you want some of this? I'm thinking, fucking no. No, God no. I think he's had enough, bro. But luckily in that time where I kind of distracted him, he was able to get up off the ground and pull out a knife, and I'm like, alright, he's got it under control now. The reason why I share that story with you is this is frequency, this is energy. When you're sitting in a room or in a gym with a bad motherfucker, and I don't just mean a biker, I don't just mean someone with tattoos, like when someone's killed some motherfuckers, or you can just, like, you just get that vibe where maybe you're a kid and like someone had a dad who was like served in Nam, and he's just he's a man, and you know not to fuck with that guy. That's an energy, that's a frequency, and we pick that up because it's fear. It's not a good vibe. And a lot of the time, we pick those vibes up more often than we pick up the good ones. We pick those vibes up more often than, for example, when you think about your life and you think about your week come Monday morning, you think about the bills, you think about all the things that could go wrong, you're worried about your wife cheating on you, you're thinking about all this negative shit. But do you ever lay there and think, how the fuck was I lucky enough to get this woman? God, it's great that I'm employed in this crazy uncertainty time in history, but I'm employed and I've got a job to go to, I've got a car that takes me there. Fuck, that's good. I have 2 arms and legs, I'm healthy. What's the difference? This is something I teach you inside the DFP, but I'll try and teach it to you now best I can. What's the most powerful word in the human language? It's no. The more times you say no to something else, you say yes to yourself. And trust me, I've lived that life too. I say yes to everything. And like, there's some good times there. You can call it sin, or you can call it pleasure, you can call it fun. I talked about this in another video where you're on the devil's hamster wheel, you're doing your 9 to 5, same shit, different day. And the moment it gets to Friday, you'll do anything to feel good. Beer, porn, sex, drugs, shitty food, strippers. I mean, anything to take your attention away from where you are now. And you think you're living in the moment, but you're distracting yourself from the moment. Had I not lived both lives, I couldn't say that with as much certainty as I can, as I do. Now, trust me, I understand the pleasure there. Whew, I understand it. But when you start saying no to things, discipline, let's call it, or sacrifice, or doing what's important now for what's important later on, you do that long enough, you start to feel good. You start to require less. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll probably obtain more. I mean, that should make sense for those who piss away your paychecks on the weekend. You start to obtain a lot more, and I don't just mean financially. You obtain more spiritually, mentally, physically. And those same frequencies, those same vibes, and this is the reason why I bring this up, you start to feel good for no reason. You start to be able to see things in your mind, your imagination, if you will, where you couldn't once see anything because it was so clouded and corrupted by the short-term pleasures of this world. And as you start to do, I don't want to call what it's right. What is better? What is right? What is, here's a good question I like to ask the guys inside the DFP, it's kind of like a compass. Will this take me closer or further to where I want to go? Like, let me give you an example. Let's say you've met the woman of your dreams, you get married, you've been together for a year, the kids are at home, you're on a Friday night with the boys, and you end up at the strip club. Now, you don't do anything too crazy, but there's a girl in front of you, you got a lazy 20, you think you might slide it in her, whatever she's wearing, to live a little bit. But you don't need to do that. She probably doesn't need it. But what's the thing that makes you do it? You get a rush, you kind of feel good, you feel excited, she looks at you and she says, fuck. But it's that feeling afterwards. When you go home and your wife says, oh, John was saying to his girl that you guys went to a strip club. Yep, yeah, we did. Oh yeah, did you get a lap dance or did you touch any of the girls? Not at all, babe. If you can't be truthful and honest about your life and what you're doing to everyone, then there's a good chance that you know what you're doing is the wrong thing. Now, I'm not a fucking monk, as some of you probably know. But like I said, it's a pretty good compass when you feel worse after the fact. You might feel fucking good during it, don't get me wrong. You might feel good during it, but afterwards, you feel worse, i.e. a hangover. The things that I get you guys to do and the things that I suggest you do, and you can use your own body and feelings as a guide, at the time, staying home to study or staying home to watch something that might educate you, or dare I say spending time with your kids instead of going to a strip club. Like, at the time, these things might not feel exciting or amazing or exactly what you want to be doing. And you'll change over time as you rewire your programming. But afterwards, let's say you don't go on that night out with the boys and you're catching up with your mate on Sunday. John, man, you look like shit. What happened? Oh, bro, I got blind and I got a lap dance and my girl left me because she didn't want me doing that shit. What did you do? I stayed at home and played with the kids. Great. Now, I'm not telling you live and I'm not telling you how to be. I'm simply reiterating what I've seen and experienced. And like I said about bikers and gangsters and things like that, sure, they might be respected or they might be discriminated on. Sure, people might admire that lifestyle and people really look down on it and judge people for it, each to their own. But I know most of those guys end up dead or in prison. It's a very fucking hard life. Imagine going to get a haircut and all of a sudden you're getting your face smashed in. When you start living true to yourself, when you start living true to your God-given gifts, or your natural skills, whatever you want to call them, and accepting that and respecting that and committing to that by any means necessary, if your paycheck stayed about the same or similar for the rest of your life, but you had 100 times more happiness, 100 times more passion, 100 times more joy, which road would you pick? If your paycheck was times tenfold, but so was your misery, so was your energy drained from you. Now, I'm not saying this has anything to do with money, not at all. But it's usually people's most obvious and easy to understand reference point. Because you need to get that out of your mind. Because if you use that as the reference point and you use that as the ultimate means to an end, money, that's a dangerous game to play because you'd be surprised what you start doing or not doing when it comes down to money. If you apply and adhere to what I've said about understanding energy and frequency and doing what is right for now to have the payoff later in whatever shape, way or form that is. I mean, not drinking for 30 days is a good way to start. You'd be surprised how much money you start earning. You'd be surprised how much more money you have most of the time. But also, a man is nothing without purpose and passion in his life. I mean, women are all about happiness and emotions. I understand that. Maybe this video is not for you ladies. A man is nothing without a true purpose or a passion in his life. And if that's building sheds for you, then go out and build the best fucking sheds on the planet. You won the lottery if you figure that out. But until then, you need to get out of the position where you're in, where you're watching serial killers on Netflix who eat people and giving strippers with dad issues money and lying to your wife about what you did on the weekend and trying to live vicariously through underbelly TV series which are grossly inaccurate and focus on you. Being a good dad is gangster as fuck. Being a good man is gangster as fuck. And more to the point, who is it as a man you want to be and you want to experience? Instead of living life through a television or living life through a series of short-term pleasures that are called weekends. I'm only 36 and I've lived a lot of lives in those 36 years. And I truly believe the best is yet to come, not just for me, but for you, if you believe that. But you need to stop trying harder with the same set of knowledge. You need to stop trying to do more with the same mindset, the same vessel, the same attitude that you're attacking your life with now. Doing the same shit and expecting a different result is called insanity. And as life, as this game is wired to only get harder for all of us, it's never been more important for you to get better faster. In fact, it kind of makes it more exciting. It gives some kind of urgency to the fact that you're living a life that is a fucking adventure, that is one of the most exciting points in history to be alive, and here you are. You get to wake up tomorrow and choose whatever the fuck you want to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I know some of you have the same job and the same wife, and some of those things might not be so good, but like I fucking said at the start of this video, when you wake up some mornings and you're like, I hate this job, I wish I could have 10 wives, no, be careful what you wish for. Just saying, how was I lucky enough to get this woman, and I have a stable job, and start being grateful for what you do have, and work harder towards what you want. That's my advice for you today. Dan Fitz, the Street Preacher, signing out. No hints or confessions of illegal activity there, AFP, because I got fucking nothing to tell you. God bless and Godspeed.